I just saw the movie Midsommar. I don't know the correct pronunciation. And I need to talk about it. Because, yeah. And I'm going to use a bunch of words, so it's not as graphic as the actual movie. If that makes any sense. So if you don't understand, I'm sorry. A friend of mine on Facebook posted that she was bored. Wanted to go see a movie. I was like, hey, don't know you very well, but I'll go see a movie with you. So we decided on this movie, and AMC has $5 Ticket Tuesday, so that was pretty awesome. Because, I only had $5 left to my name. I didn't buy her ticket because I didn't know if she felt comfortable sitting right next to me because, movie seats are really close. Plus, again, I'm broke. And she ends up getting a Coke and some M&M peanuts, and I didn't want anything. Even if I did, I couldn't afford it, so it didn't matter. But we go there, and we're the only people in the movie there. Which I'm thankful for, because she was on her phone during parts of the movie. And it didn't bother me. It wasn't loud, it wasn't too bright, it wasn't distracting for me. There was other people, that could have been a different story, and if she got kicked out, then I would follow with her, because that's just what friends do, 2 other people end up showing up, so there's actually 4 of us. Me, my friend, and the strangers, so yeah. And I did talk during the movie. I know that's a bad thing to do. But honestly, I wish I could have paused the movie. And talked about what just happened, because a lot went on. A lot. A lot. But she went to go fill up the drink when her drink started. So the movie started out with this image. This picture. And it depicted events of the movie in it. There's like 6 different separate images inside the picture, and it didn't make any sense until you actually watched the movie. At the end is when it all made sense, or as much sense as it could have made. But it starts out with the main girl character. Let's call her, I don't know, Lizzie? Let's call her Lizzie. She gets a troubling email from her sister, and her sister lives with the parents. So she gets panicked over the troubling email, and she calls her boyfriend. And he kind of blows her off because he's hanging out with his friends, and it cuts to a scene where he's with his friends, and the friends are trying to convince him to break up with her because she's too clingy or something, and ego. And stuff. Now he doesn't like her anymore and whatever. And it cuts to Lizzie again, the girl. And please don't attack me. And she finds out that her sister put herself and her parents to sleep. Tucked them in and then tucked herself in. So they're sleeping, so she's all alone. And the boyfriend feels guilty and doesn't break up with her like he desperately wants to. And so it cuts to the next year, or a few months later, I don't know which one. And she's all alone, except for the boyfriend. Hello, what are you guys doing up there? So, because he doesn't want to be with her and he is with her, they don't have a good relationship. Like, they have a really toxic relationship. And she's talking with said boyfriend and the friends, and she finds out that they're all going to Sweden for the summer, and she gets upset because she doesn't know why the boyfriend didn't tell her. And he lied and said, well, I just decided I was going to go today. And even though he had the plane ticket ready and he's known for months and months and whatever. And he lies to her and said that he was going to kind of make it into a romantic trip for them and was going to invite her. She doesn't want to be alone, so she agrees to go, even though she's technically not wanted. And they're going to Sweden because the boyfriend lives with a exchange student and his 2 other friends. And, Jeff and Johnny. Let's call them Jeff and Johnny. In Sweden, dude. So, she goes to Sweden with boyfriend Jeff, Johnny, and Sweden dude. Johnny, and Sweden dude. It cuts to her having like a panic attack in the plane bathroom, and then it cuts to them driving in this car and how the boys are all talking about stupid facts, and one of the friends, Johnny, is a very playful person, and all he can talk about is playing, and whatnot, and they pull up into this beautiful open field, and they get out of the car, and they see a few other people, like, with tents and unpacking, and, Sweden dude introduces them to another Sweden dude, and that Sweden dude introduces them to a couple from London, Sam and Sammy. Sam is the boy, Sammy's the girl. I'm changing their names, guys, just so you know. So, Sweden dude with Sam and Sammy offers them all a special flower, and Lizzie doesn't want to take the special flower, so the boyfriend says he doesn't want to take the special flower, and Johnny gets mad that he doesn't want to take the special flower, and so Lizzie feels bad and says she'll take the special flower. So they all take a special flower. And because of the special flower, they all have dreams. And she's having a really cool dream. Then all of a sudden she freaks out. Her dream ends and starts to become a nightmare. And hey, don't spill your water. And so she gets up and she runs. She just keeps running because that's what her body is telling her to do. And she wakes up the next day with the boyfriend, Sweden dude, and Jeff and Johnny surrounded around her, packing up because they slept for a couple hours after they found her. And she's like, how long have I been here? And boyfriend's just like, we found you 6 hours ago, so you've been at least napping for at least 6 hours. And so she's like, is it the next day? And he's like, basically. And it made me mad that he didn't say yes. He's like, well, kinda. He didn't just say yes. It was the next day. And guess what? It was her birthday that day, too. Boyfriend forgot. And yeah, so they start walking through the field into a forest, up a path or whatever, and they come into this opening, and there's a giant sun sculpture made out of wood, and everybody in the community is wearing white, and they're greeted with this beautiful music, and they're kind of awestruck. They're like, and so yeah, and citizens come up, take their gear, and bring it to the sleeping quarters. And then this old lady elder starts talking on a stage, and everybody gathers around, and she's speaking in Sweden, and then she starts speaking in English about festival nonsense, I don't quite remember. And then she hands this old guy a fire stick and this old girl a fire stick, and they kind of hold it up together like this, and they say something, and they make some weird noises, singing or whatever, and then they kind of walk away and kind of like venture the village, and Sweden guy shows Lizzie and the boyfriend and the friends where the sleeping quarters are, and other Sweden guy shows Sam and Sammy this tapestry that someone painted, and it's a love potion tapestry where a woman makes a special biscuit bread or something with her special hair that only grows in one place, and makes a milkshake with her special monthly gift, and feeds it to him, and he falls in love and gives her a baby or whatever. And then there's a bear in a cage, just randomly, and nobody talks about the bear. But when Sweet and Dew showed Lizzie and her friends sleeping quarters, there's a picture of the bear surrounded by a bunch of people on one of the wall panels. What is that noise? Nico, what are you doing? Get down! Anyways, so all the old, younger people sleep together in this place, and then if you're married, I think you get your own house, but you're not allowed to get married until you're 36? I'm not quite sure. It was explained how your life is like the cycle of the seasons. Spring is whatever, summer is whatever, fall is 18 to 36, and winter is 36 to 72, and then after 72 is when your life cycle ends, supposedly. So, Sweet and Guy gives Lizzie a picture for her birthday, and she's really happy about it, and tells him that the boyfriend forgot, and he tells the boyfriend that he forgot, and so he throws together a quick piece of cake with a candle, and she's like, "Thank you, I appreciate this, but it still sucks that you forgot my birthday," and he kind of makes her feel guilty for making him feel bad, even though he tried, and again, toxic relationship. At some point, they go to sleep, and Sweet and Dew tells them that something's going to happen the next day, this big word I don't remember, and Jeff knows what the big word means. Johnny and the boyfriend and Lizzie don't. So he's more prepared for it than they are. Boyfriend tries to Google it, but couldn't. My friend actually Googled it during the movie and showed it to me, and there's a few more big words in the description, so I didn't quite understand it, but I got the sense of more people were going to go to sleep, you know? So they go to nap in their sleeping quarters. And they wake up, and they sit at this special table that's in shape of this symbol, and they just stand there for a while until the old people from the first day who were holding the fire sticks come out in these special blue robes. And they sit down in these special blue chairs, and when they sit down, everybody else sits down. And then they sit for a couple seconds, and then they grab their forks and knives, and then everybody else grabs their forks and knives, and they start eating. And after they're done with the meal, the old female and the old male get up, and they start this weird singing, chant, something. No one else watches except the 4 people who are not part of the community. Is it 4? Maybe it's 6. I think it's 6 people. Yeah, Sammy, Sam, Lizzie, boyfriend, Johnny, and Jeff. Yeah, 6 people. They turn and watch. Nobody else in the community does. And so after they do this chant or whatever, they both sit back down, and then they're carried off in their chairs. And then everybody gets off from the table to go leave, and somebody from the community says, "Are you going to come for the next part of the ceremony?" And they're all like, "Sure," except for Johnny. He goes and takes a nap. And so they follow the community to this cliff full of rocks. It's a really tall cliff. And the older woman and male are up there. And they use red finger paint and put they smear their hand on these stones. And then the elder female is standing underneath the cliff holding their Bible. And she sings out something that I do not understand. And then the older woman, she bungee jumps off of the cliff. And everybody watched her bungee jump off the cliff. And After she's done bungee jumping, she goes to sleep. This freaks out Sammy and Sam. It throws Lizzie into shock. And boyfriend and Jeff are kind of just like... And the old man goes to bungee jump. Also, Sammy and Sam are yelling at him not to bungee jump. I don't know why, it's just bungee jumping. And, he bungee jumps. But he doesn't do it correctly, so he doesn't go to sleep after he's done. So, 4 people walk up with a special device to help him finish going to sleep. And there's a lot of red paint everywhere. Don't know why, but there was a lot of red paint. So, they're freaked out that they bungee jumped. You know. And elder lady tries to explain that it's part of the tradition. When your season of winter is over, you give back so someone else can start their spring season. Yeah. And, yeah. And so they get freaked out and whatever. And they all go back to the village. And Lizzie kind of cuts off and, like, collapses to the ground and starts screaming and crying. Boyfriend tells Johnny what happened, and he kind of like, why did you guys let me nap through that, man? What? Jeff goes and starts writing down what he saw, because he's a college student and he's doing his thesis on different cultures and traditions. And boyfriend gets in a fight with him because he wants to write his thesis on this specific community's traditions and culture. But they're technically not allowed to. So Jeff asked Sweden Dude if he could talk to the elders and get permission. And Sweden Dude lied and said that boyfriend already asked him, and how they technically both can't, but he'll talk to the elders and whatnot. The next day comes, and Sam, like, hitchhikes to the closest town or train station or whatever and calls for a ride out, or whatever. And so it cuts to where Lizzie is talking to Sammy, and an elder tells Sammy that Sam left without her. Sammy and Sam are engaged. Even though Sweden Dude, who brought Sammy and Sam, had a crush on Sammy. And he was jealous, but he didn't say anything, but you could see it, you know? And it makes a lot of more sense with the events that are coming up. So, Elder tells Sammy that Sam left. She gets confused because they're engaged and Sam would never leave her. And she, like, runs off into out of view. So, Sammy and Sam disappear from the storyline. They have another, like, festival event where they throw a tree into, this giant pine tree, and they decorate it with, like, ribbons and wood ornaments and stuff, and they throw it into a river as a sacrifice to their goddess. And then they try to throw a kid into the river. And they don't. He doesn't go for a swim. They were joking. It was like a play around thing, I guess they were doing. And I don't really know how to explain it, but they were never going to make the kid go swimming, you know? Even though it looked like that they were going to. It was a theatrical joke or something, I don't know. Anyways, and then, so boyfriend and Jeff are both asking everybody a bunch of questions about the community or whatever, and boyfriend asks a certain girl, certain questions, but she doesn't speak English, so she can't answer, so her friend answers for her. We'll call her Rose. Okay? So Rose can't speak English. But she's kind of important. And so Jeff learns about their Bible. And they're inside this one temple. And the walls are just filled with books of their Bible. Because their knowledge and culture / religion is always growing, always expanding. And how they have a prophet that is always being reborn. And the prophet is special needs. And so Jeff learns this, and he has to take pictures of the Bible, and he's like, the elder who's showing it, the elder priest showing, he's like, what? No, how disrespectful of you. And he's like, oh, sorry. By the way, how do you, if the prophet goes to sleep, do you wait around for another prophet to wake up? And the priest's elder's like, no, once the prophet goes to sleep, we create a new prophet from the same family. That makes sense. So they make one family combine to make one prophet. And when that prophet goes to sleep, they make another family combined to make the prophet. So a family can only combine to make a prophet. Other than that, a family stays separate. They never combine unless they are choosing to make a prophet. Okay? And then at one point, Sweden Dude tells Jeff and the boyfriend that they can ask as many questions as they want, they can write anything they want down, but they cannot use specific names, and they cannot give out the specific location of their community. Whatever. While this is happening, Johnny walks away to use the restroom. Johnny does not use the right restroom. He is a male, so he uses a tree. And then a bunch of citizens of the community start yelling at him, and he's confused why, because he's just going to the bathroom on this tree that is actually fallen over and just a dead tree. Fell over dead tree, you know. And he's confused, and he learns that the tree is where they put everybody to sleep. After the celebration of their sleep, each time someone goes to sleep, they have a celebrational bonfire. And after the bonfire is done and the logs are dust, they move the dust to the dead tree. So all the sleeping people are by the tree with the dust of the logs. And it's special tree, basically. He didn't know it was special tree. He's getting yelled at, and some dude is crying his eyes out, and he doesn't know what's wrong. He feels like he did something wrong, and he did do something wrong. And he's worried that something's bad gonna happen, but they tell him, don't worry, it was a mistake, he didn't know. This guy will get over it because there's one guy's crying his eyes out. He's like really upset. He'll get over it, whatever. So they sit down to dinner, and Lizzie and boyfriend are kind of arguing a little bit. And boyfriend bites into his biscuit that's for dinner and pulls out a special hair, and the special hair is from Rose. And he doesn't know it's from Rose, but he kind of knows it's from Rose. But he swallows it anyways. And then he drinks his drink. That is a special milkshake from Rose, also of her monthly gift. He doesn't put that together, but I do because of the tapestry in the beginning. And while they're kind of fighting and he's eating and drinking the potion, Johnny gets pulled away by the girl that he thinks he's going to combine and play with, because that's all he wants to do, and that's all he talks about. So he disappears. He's out of view. He's out of the storyline now. So we got Lizzie, boyfriend, and Jeff. So they eat dinner or whatever, and they go to the snapping quarters to take a nap. And Lizzie takes a sleeping pill so she can sleep, because everybody's in there, even the nursery. So there's a crying baby, and she can't sleep, so she goes to sleep. And Jeff goes to sleep with his shoes on. Nobody notices it, but I do. Because guess what? Jeff sneaks out of the napping quarters where everybody's napping and sneaks into the temple to take pictures of their Bible, even though he was forbidden. He gets caught by someone who he thinks is Johnny. But the person is not Johnny. The person is wearing a very, very realistic costume of Johnny. Very realistic costume of Johnny. But the costume is missing Johnny's hot dog. Missing Johnny's hot dog. And so Jeff's like, dude, close the door, we're gonna get caught. And then Jeff gets hit over the head by the prophet, because guess what? The prophet lives in the temple. And so he's knocked out, and they pull him away to go to sleep, along with the person in the Johnny costume. Everybody wakes up. Johnny and Jeff are gone. It's just boyfriend and Lizzie. And I have heartburn now. And so they have breakfast. Some boyfriend and Lizzie get separated. Lizzie gets dressed up in the white clothes that everybody's wearing and participates in this dance festival contest. And while she's getting that done, boyfriend is pulled into a conference with the elder lady who's like running the show, and asks him if he is willing to play and combine with Rose. And he's like, I came here with Lizzie, I can't. And she's like, well, Lizzie will never find out. And he's like, eh. And she's like, hey, you'll be able to experience how our play happens. And he's like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And while that's happening, Lizzie is drinking this special flower tea, and she's dancing around this beautiful sculpture of flowers, and she doesn't know the specific dance that everybody's doing, but she's like following it, and she's having a blast. And then boyfriend comes out of the conference and kind of just sits there, and he's like going back and forth of what he should do, and she's kind of worried about his demeanor, but she still goes back to dancing or whatever, and she's like having these really cool dreams while she's dancing. And this girl comes out of nowhere and offers boyfriend a special flower tea too, and he says no thank you, but she's like no, take it. And he's like fine, I'll take it. And he doesn't have a dream. It starts off really slow, but it escalates into a nightmare. And Lizzie is still dancing and having awesome dreams, and then all of a sudden she's the last one dancing, so she's crowned the May Queen of the dancing contest. She won the dancing contest, blah, 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 blah. And they carry her off to this table full of food for a feast, and she's just standing there, and they're all standing there watching her. So she sits down, and as soon as she sits down, everybody sits down, and so she's sitting there for a second, and she grabs her knife and fork and goes to eat, and then everybody grabs their knife and fork and goes and eats as well, and they toast to the queen, the Mayflower Queen or whatever, and the boyfriend's not sitting next to her. He's kind of sitting just randomly at the table, having a nightmare, so he doesn't eat. And she's laughing and she's eating, and they're like, you need to swallow this raw fish whole so we can have all the good luck ever. And she gets like this much of the fish in her mouth before she spits it out. And like, it's a regular sized fish, you know. And they all laugh and they all go, oh no luck. And good dinner. But then they while this is happening, Rose walks away from the table. And boyfriend watches her walk away from the table. And Lizzie watches boyfriend watching her. So she's like, ooh, that's not good. And let's just say Rose is not a college student, like boyfriend and Lizzie are. But then they're like, okay, now the May Queen needs to go bless our cattle and our sheep and our crops for the new season, so we have healthy bounty. And she's like, I want boyfriend to come with me. And they're like, no, dude, boyfriend can't come with you. It's just gotta be you, man. And so she goes off with these girls from the community. So she's technically not alone. And they go around, like, everywhere, and she, like, dances over these grains with this lady chanting these words / singing or whatever. And while that's happening, he gets up and, like, it's hard. It looks like he's in physical pain from the nightmare that he's having from the special flower. And he gets up and he somehow makes it to the temple. And they make him smell this white smoke and tell him to put on this sparkly birthday suit. And he walks in, and Rose is laying on this flower mat, and there's like 8 other people behind her, and everybody's wearing their sparkly fancy birthday suits. And these like 8 people are of all ages, and they're all female. So he's the only male inside the room. And they start chanting and singing, and him and Rose start to play and combine their cultures. And while that's going on, she's chanting and dancing around cattle and stuff, and one of the people watching them play crouches down and starts singing like this. She had a really nice voice. This person had a nice voice, and it makes them play harder. You know, can't thumb wrestle myself, but they play harder. And, Lizzie gets back from her tour of dancing, and she's told to go see this elder lady who's running the show, and she hears the singing from the temple, and she's like, what's going on over there? And one of the citizens is like, that's not for us. We need to go this way. And she's like, no, what's going on over there? And she kind of starts walking toward it, and the citizen pulls her back, and they're like, you shouldn't go over there. So she goes over there. And then it cuts to the prophet child watching everybody play inside the temple. And then it cuts back to her walking up to the temple again. And she walks up to the door, and she looks through the keyhole and sees everybody playing. And she turns around and throws up and starts to, like, yell. And all the people who were with her on the tour of all the dancing for the cattle come up to her and pull her away to the napping quarters. And she starts screaming, and they start screaming, so they're all screaming together. And boyfriend finishes playing and gets spooked by what just happened and runs out of the temple. And he runs towards the napping corners, but he doesn't go in it because he hears screaming. And then he runs toward a house, and the house has one of Jeff's shoes sticking out of the ground, which scares him. And boyfriend's running around outside in his sparkly fancy birthday suit, and he gets creeped out. He is still in this nightmare from the special flower tea, and he runs into this kitchen coop, and he turns around and sees that Sam never left. Sam just went to sleep inside the kitchen coop and looked like he was flying inside the kitchen coop as he slept. Everybody sleeps differently. I toss and turn when I nap. And an elder finds him inside the kitchen coop with Sam. Boyfriend and Sam inside the kitchen coop. And then the elder puts this powder in his face, and it goes black. And it goes to boyfriend sitting inside a wheelchair, not being able to move or talk. And Lizzie sitting in this giant mound of beautiful flowers. And priest elder starts talking about how their mother goddess is wonderful and gives all these wonderful things, but you gotta remember that she can take all these things back, so we give her sleeping tribute to keep her happy. And they have 9 tributes, and I really don't like that because it's an odd number, and I like even numbers, but whatever. So they have all these sleeping tributes. They have the 2 older people who went bungee jumping as tributes. They have Jeff and Johnny as tributes, and then Sam and Sammy as tributes. So they have 4 newcomers and 2 from the community. They also have 2 more from the community that's volunteered to sleep and be tributes. The Sweden dude who brought Sam and Sammy, you know, he liked Sammy, but that didn't happen. And then some random dude who also volunteered. So they need 1 more tribute. And that falls on to the May Queen to pick the tribute. So they get this bingo style thing. They do the twisty thing. There's a bunch of balls in it. And out comes this one ball that has carved symbols on it of someone's name from the community. So he says his name, and this gentleman walks forward, and then they move boyfriend in the wheelchair next to the gentleman. And so Elder Priest is like, now the May Queen may choose the last tribute, boyfriend or a guy she doesn't know, to go to sleep for Mother Goddess. And literally, like, 5 seconds ago in the movie, she was watching her boyfriend play with Rose, which made Lizzie really sad. So, what do you guys think? She chose boyfriend to be the last tribute to go to sleep for Mother Goddess. So, they are all standing in front of this orange-yellow temple that's in shape as a triangle. And inside the temple is a bunch of hay. And they put the sleeping tributes in there. They have Sam, Sammy, Jeff, Johnny, the 2 elders from bungee jumping, and then the 2 tributes that volunteered that are still awake. And then they put boyfriend in the middle of the triangle dressed up as a bear, who is also still awake. And Sammy disappeared to go swimming, like they fake joked with the boy. She was wearing the same garland he was. I don't know if I mentioned that, but he was wearing some garland when they were joking, whatever. She was wearing it. So she went swimming, and then went to sleep. But boyfriend and the 2 volunteers are still awake, and are about to go to sleep. But before they can go to sleep, they have this huge bonfire right in front of the temple. And while they're having the bonfire, the boyfriend and the 2 volunteers go to sleep. And the end of the movie ends with Lizzie just staring there, like close up on her face. And she's just staring blankly. And then she's like, and she goes crazy or something, and she smiles like the Joker. That playing card? Yeah. So, or, like, smiley face, she goes, and that's how it ends. And it's just, there's a lot of red paint, there's a lot of bonfires, half of the people go to sleep. Beautiful scenery, though. Beautiful scenery. Yeah. But I do not recommend it unless you're 18 or older and are mentally stable. Because, like I said, a lot of people go to sleep. Oh, there's a lot of red paint. And it just makes you go, what just happened? Because you don't know what just happened. So yeah. No. Not for me. Even though I watched it. Alright. Alright.